Hello class, we were studying the lesson force and pressure. In the previous class, we have already studied about the definition of force and the types of force, that is contact and non-contact forces also. And now let us continue the lesson. Let us study about pressure. In class 7th, already we have studied that during strong winds, a storm or a cyclone can blow away even the rooftops. So the winds and the cyclones are caused by the differences in air pressure. So what is the relation between pressure and force? Now we have to study the relation between pressure and force. If we take a wooden plank and if we take an iron nail and if we try to push the iron nail into the wooden plank by its head, can we do it? No. We have to push the nail by its pointed end towards the wooden plank. Then we can push it slowly, isn't it, children? Or we can hammer it slowly and the iron nail goes into the wooden plank. One more example we have is, if we cut the vegetables with a blunt knife, can we cut it easily? No. If the knife has a sharp tip or if the knife is very sharp, then we can cut the vegetables very easily. It makes our work easier. Do you get the feeling that the area over which the force is applied plays a role in making these tasks easier? Yes, of course. The force acting on a unit area of a surface is called as pressure. What is pressure? The force acting on a unit area of a surface is called as pressure. If the area is smaller, then the pressure exerted on the surface will be larger for the same force. The area of the pointed end of the nail is much smaller than that of its head. So, the same force will therefore produce a pressure sufficient for you to push the pointed end of the nail into the wooden plank. So now you all understood, if the area is smaller, then the pressure on the surface will be larger. So you can easily put the nail into the wooden plank by its pointed end. If you take the pointed end of the nail, then you can push it easily into the wooden plank. Because the pointed end has smaller area. We must understand that the liquids and gases also exerts pressure. One example is given here. We have to take a transparent glass tube or a plastic tube and we have to take a thin piece of sheet of a good quality rubber, or you can use a balloon also. Then the rubber sheet or the balloon must be tightly put by the one end of the pipe. It has to be tied to one end of the pipe. Can you see in the picture here? Yes. Then you have to hold the pipe at the middle. Then with the help of one more person, water has to be put into the pipe. You can see that the rubber band or the rubber sheet will bulge out. Can you see the bulge of the rubber sheet or the balloon, whatever you have taken? Yes. After that, you have to pour some more water into the pipe. Again, you can observe the bulge in the rubber sheet or the balloon, whatever you have taken. As the height of the water column in the pipe increases, then there is more bulge on the rubber sheet or the balloon, whatever you have fixed here. So, from this activity or the example, we can study that pressure is exerted by water at the bottom of the container depends on the height of the column. So, here water is only so much, so you can see a small bulge in the rubber sheet. If water is more, then the bulge is also more, and it depends upon the height of the column, isn't it? One more example is given here. We have to take a plastic bottle, empty plastic bottle, and we have to fix a cylindrical glass tube at the bottom of the bottle. To the end of the glass tube, we have to fix a balloon. We have to make sure that the water will not pass out when it is filled in the bottle. So when the water is filled in the bottle, it must not leak from the cylindrical tube over here. Okay. If there is leakage, then there is no use. So we have to seal it with the molten wax, or we have to fix the balloon tightly so that there is no leakage of water. Now, what we have to observe is when water is filled in the bottle, the rubber sheet which is fixed to the glass tube will bulge this time also. So, when the water is filled, even the rubber tube or the balloon, whatever you have fixed, will bulge. So from this activity or the example, we can understand that the liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container also. Now, we must understand that the rubber tube or the balloon is fixed to the side of the bottle. It is not at the bottom. It is by the side. So from this example, we have to understand that the liquid exerts pressure on the walls of the container also. One more example is given here, children, where we have to take a plastic bottle, empty plastic bottle, and we have to make sure that we make holes at the bottom sides of the bottle. When we make 4 holes around the bottle, the distance must be almost same, and it must be at the same heights from the bottom of the bottle. When we make holes, we have to make sure that the height will be same from all the sides. Now we have to fill the bottle with water. We can observe that the streams of water coming out of the holes will fall at the same distance from the bottle. So from this example, we conclude that liquids exert equal pressure at the same depth. Liquids exert pressure on the walls of the container, and it will exert equal pressure at the same depth. Do you think gases also exerts pressure on the walls of the container? Yes, even the gas will exert pressure on the walls of their container. We have an example of the balloon. So all have blown the balloon. So when you inflate the balloon, if there is a hole in the balloon, will the balloon become big? Will it inflate? No, isn't it? So we can say that air exerts pressure in all direction. One more example we have, what may happen to the air in the bicycle tube when it has a puncture? The air exerts pressure on the inner walls of an inflated balloon or a tube. So we find that the gases too will exert pressure on the walls of the container. As we have already studied, now we know that the gas and the liquids will exert pressure on the inner walls of their containers in which they are put. Atmospheric pressure. We all know that air is around us. and the envelope of air is known as atmosphere. The atmospheric air extends up to a few kilometers above the surface of the earth, and our atmosphere has a mixture of gases in it. We have more of nitrogen in the atmosphere and oxygen is also there. So, the pressure exerted by this air is known as atmospheric pressure. What is atmospheric pressure? The pressure exerted by the air is called as atmospheric pressure. The pressure exerted by the air present in the atmosphere is atmospheric pressure. If we imagine a unit area and a very long cylinder standing on it filled with air, then the force of gravity on the air in this cylinder is the atmospheric pressure. So, if we have imagined a unit area and a very long cylinder standing on it. If this is a unit area, so on this a long cylinder is kept and it is filled with air. So the force of gravity on the air in this cylinder is the atmospheric pressure. If we take a good quality rubber sucker and if we press it hard on a smooth plain surface, it will stick to the surface. Now if we try to pull it off from the surface, then it will, of course, we can remove the sucker from the plain surface. But if the rubber sucker is too big, then it is very much difficult for us to pull it back. When we press the sucker, most of the air between the sucker and the surface will escape out. The sucker will stick to the surface because the pressure of the atmosphere acts on it. To pull the sucker off the surface, the applied force should be large enough to overcome the atmospheric pressure. If we put more force in order to pull the sucker, that must overcome the atmospheric pressure. Then only we can pull the sucker out of the surface. So, it would not be possible for any human being to pull the sucker off the surface if there were no air at all between the sucker and the surface. Because of presence of some air between the surface and the sucker, of course, when more force is applied, we can pull the sucker out. It will overcome the atmospheric pressure and we can pull the sucker out of the surface. So, one more reason is that why we are not crushed under the force of gravity. That is because of the pressure inside our body. The pressure inside our body is also equal to atmospheric pressure and it balances the pressure from outside. So even we are not pressed or crushed under the force of gravity.